Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We will call the June 3rd meeting of the Common Council to order. I will ask our clerk to call the roll to determine a quorum.
Alderperson Barzak.
Here.
Chaplesky.
Here.
Haas.
Here.
Lysick.
Here.
May.
Here.
Probst. Here. Reinke.
Here.
Rote.
Here.
Vitale.
Here.
Weigel.
Here.
10 present, unexcused.
We have a quorum. Alderman Barzak will lead us in the pledge.
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have 3 items up for public hearing this evening. I will ask the clerk to read public hearing number 1.
A hearing on the special use permit for Strikers of Wisconsin, an existing indoor athletic facility, to extend their hours of operation and expand their existing facility located at 430 through 450 South Curtis Road.
Mr. Stiebel?
Well, now that we got this thing put down, it's hard to get it back up again.
It's going to be one of those meetings.
Why aren't we getting?
It's a good thing we got
I'll
the
drive.
IT director here.
The first public hearing has to do with strikers wanting to extend their hours of operation. Technically, all that they're doing is that they're extending their hours of operation from an additional hour in the evening on, I think it's, they currently close at 11, they want to go to midnight. And in the morning, they currently start at 8 o'clock, and they want to start early in the morning at 6 a.m. Those are the only basic changes, except that they're also adding about 3,000 square feet to their existing 5,000 square feet that they have in that facility. The building is occupied by a variety of users, primarily landscape architects and that kind of a user. There's about 40 parking spaces striped on the property, but there is that would technically be required 50, but if they were to stripe it correctly, they'd probably get 100. So there's more than adequate parking on the site. If you have additional questions, I'd be glad to answer them. Thank you, James.
Thank you, Mr. Stiebel. Are there questions from the Common Council?
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Weigel?
John, so they're not building an addition, they're just taking over existing space that's already there?
That is correct.
And with this new midnight closing, I mean, I guess it's pretty quiet neighborhood out there. I don't think there's...
It's in an industrial area.
Yeah.
It'll have minimal impact. It's all indoors, so it's probably ideal location for something like this.
And
They're also going to be adding a canopy onto their entrance of their facility. Curtis Road is over on the left side here. This is the parking area. In this area here, they're going to add on a canopy for their entrance. And this is the area that they currently occupy. I'll just go like this. And that's the new additional area. So it's all indoors. No alcohol will be served.
Okay. And they understand no carry-ins also?
No alcohol permitted.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions from the council? Seeing none other questions or comments from the audience on this item? Seeing none, we will close public hearing number 1, and I will ask the clerk to read public hearing number 2.
A hearing on the special use permit for Sunrise Spa, a proposed therapeutic massage and wellness center to be located at 10827 West Lincoln Avenue.
Mr. Stiebel.
In this existing building, I believe one of the tenants is leaving and they'll be taking about 1,000 square feet of the 5,000 square foot building. It's going to be a fitness or massage and wellness clinic. Hours of operation are 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. The resolution says 7 a.m. to 11, I believe. I think there's a technical error that we'll correct at the committee meeting. They'll have 2 employees and 2 full-time employees. This is the floor plan of the building, and I think a wellness clinic also occupies the wellness clinic or home care facility as well. The Plan Commission has reviewed this proposed special use and has approved it, and we've received no objections to date. If you have additional questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Stiebel. Are there any questions from the Common Council on this item? Seeing none, are there questions or comments from the audience on public hearing number 2? Okay, seeing none, we will close public hearing number 2, and I will ask our clerk to read public hearing number 3.
A hearing on the resolution approving various amendments to the fiscal year 2013 and fiscal year 2014 Community Development Block Grant Action Plans.
Mr. Stiebel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In a rather unusual move, the Community Development Block Grant Program for 2014 actually got more money than we had anticipated. We lowballed it, and we actually ended up getting about $71,000 additional funds than we had anticipated. A number of other projects over the various years have been completed, and then leaving a balance of funds in their accounts of about $90,000 that were not needed for those projects, so they can be re-obligated. That's the purpose of this public hearing this evening. We are proposing to take a little over $14,000 to increase the administrative budget for such things as environmental assessments, appraisals, etc. We're also proposing to add funds to 2 additional public service projects. One is the Family Resource Center, an additional $5,384, and the Frail Elderly Home Program at $5,384,000. I do want to mention that there is a maximum amount of money that can be applied to public services, and this brings up our public service category to the 15% that's maximum. And then to assist with the exterior enforcement program, one of the code enforcement people is on leave and then is going to be retiring, and that time frame is going to put the program back. And so they'll be hiring actually one of our housing people to help fill in during the process. Also, $25,000 is set aside for painting churros, additional bike racks for that program. And then also, the City Hall itself needs some handicap accessibility features. The feature is when somebody comes to a desk in a wheelchair, they can't see over the counter. And so in every counter where the city has remodeled recently, we've incorporated the handicapped wheelchair accessibility. For example, the clerk's office or the clerk treasurer's office have no handicapped accessibility. This will fund those improvements. Now, we tried to talk HUD into allowing us to use it to buy a new elevator, but they didn't buy that. So, and then we have also set aside the balance, $82,000, to take a look at Veterans Park and make improvements to that park. However, I know there's been some discussion of taking a look at Liberty Heights Park. We could do that as well. So, but this is just the balance of funds, and so we're not exactly sure what improvements will be at that park. But in talking with the Public Works Department, they said that was one of the older pieces of equipment that we have, and that's what we should look at doing. So right now, we'll set it aside for a Veterans Park, but with the option of moving it to Liberty Heights or some other area. We looked at Reservoir Park, but unfortunately, it's not an eligible area. If you have additional questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Stiebel. Are there any questions or comments from the Common Council on public hearing number 3?
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Probst.
John, with the bike racks that we have currently put in, the newer ones that we've installed around, have we done any study into how often they're being utilized? Have we looked at what's occurring with them before we look at spending more money? Are the ones that we currently have, are they being used?
Yes, they have. I think a good example was last weekend. We're seeing a lot of usage. And what we wanted to do was put these into some of our other commercial nodes, not downtown, but some of our older commercial nodes in the east end to help start the revitalization process, and that's the purpose of that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the Common Council? Seeing none, are there any questions or comments from the audience on our third and final public hearing? Okay, seeing none, we will close our public hearings and move on to item E, which is citizen participation. It's an opportunity for residents to address the council on matters of interest to them. If you do wish to address the council, we ask that you approach the podium and give us your name and address for our record. And we ask that you try to limit your comments to approximately 5 minutes.
Hello, my name is Brianna Olson. I reside at the 2200 block of South 75th Street. As you may recall, I was here about a month ago at the May 6th Common Council hearing to address some of the issues that have occurred since Pawn America has been in our neighborhood. And tonight I'm here to reaffirm my commitment to continuing to make my neighborhood a safe place to live once again. So, once again, I'm here to request that you deny Pawn America's license on June 30th, or whenever it is they actually apply and it's renewed. My neighbor, Jacqueline Kirsch, could not be here tonight. She is busy with her growing business. But she did ask that I relay a message for her, and I share in these thoughts. I wanted to take this time again to speak regarding Pawn America and their impact on our community. Earlier this year, when my neighbor Brianna and I met with Lieutenant Pye and the PR representative for Pawn America, Lieutenant Pye said something that really struck a chord with me. He stated how they as police officers deal with the small percentage of our city that are criminals. How it's easy to get discouraged until you stop and remember that those are only a small percentage of people that encompass our city. This made me really think about the police activity of Pawn America. Now, as residents of this area, we are forced to not only deal with the risks of that small percentage of West Dallas residents that are criminals, but a portion of that percentage from all surrounding areas. Those criminals are coming into our neighborhood that wouldn't have had a reason to come into our neighborhood until Pawn America. Now, as neighbors, our risk for break-ins or a confrontation with these criminals has increased significantly because of the people that this store is bringing into our community. Let me elaborate. May 2013, a Sussex man stole various electronic items from a relative's home and pawned these items at Pawn America. April 2013, a Menominee Falls man stole various electronics from his father's residence and sold them to Pawn America to support his heroin habit. May 2013, a Greenfield man committed felony burglary and tried to pawn stolen items at Pawn America. April 2013, in Greendale, a couple stole items and pawned them at Pawn America to support their heroin addiction. March 2013, a Muskego man stole jewelry from his grandparents' home and pawned these items at Pawn America. And in January of 2014, a Shorewood man stole a camera from an apartment and then later pawned it at Pawn America. And these are just the incidents that were found during a short Google search online. So who knows how many more or not are open cases that aren't online. So why should we, as law-abiding taxpayers, have to continue to risk our safety because we now have to deal with our other cities' criminals? This store does not belong in a residential area. So I'd like to just finish by saying that I'm asking you to do the right thing. Do the right thing for your residents. Do the right thing for this community. I'm asking you to remove Pawn America from our neighborhood. This store that brings in criminals in my backyard, right by my son's school, right by parks where children play. This is what is being attracted by this store. It's not what we want for our community. So once again, I'm begging you and requesting from the bottom of my heart that you restore the peace in my neighborhood and remove this store from our residential area. So I want to thank you once again for your time and for listening to me, and have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to address the council under citizen participation this evening? Okay, seeing none, we will close citizen participation, which leads us to item F on our agendas. Our standing committees will be meeting during recess. The room numbers are listed on page 2 of your agendas. Moving forward to item G, the mayor's report. I have a couple of things this evening. Well, much like I know several aldermen, I had an opportunity to ride along over the Memorial Day weekend with the West Dallas Police Department, and it was an eye-opening reminder of the good and hard work that they do. I think it's something that, along with our fire department as well, that gets taken for granted on all the days where we don't need their services, yet they are always there if we do. And I just want to take a moment to say thanks to both of those departments for being there 24/7, and as you often hear, they're usually the ones rushing in while everybody else is rushing out. On a similar note, I want to congratulate one of our members of the West Dallas Fire Department, Kurt Zellman, who was one of 4 paramedics of over 400 in Milwaukee County, who was honored recently at a ceremony for his dedication and contribution to research in the paramedic field. And similarly, I'd like to congratulate Sergeant Clint Corwin, Corporal Stephen Heckler, and Patrol Officer Joseph Matthey for receiving a meritorious award at the Wisconsin Professional Police Association 82nd Annual Convention for their heroic actions almost a year ago, last June of 2013. In addition, Sergeant Corwin received the NAPO Honorable Mention Award for his actions that evening. Congratulations to them. I want to take a minute to thank everybody who helped make Downtown a la carte another success. That goes for the volunteers, the businesses, the sponsors, and especially the Business Improvement District and the people that worked within them to accomplish that. And similarly, I want to thank Alderman Rote and everybody who was involved in the Memorial Day parade and ceremony. We had another gorgeous day and a very, very well-attended parade this year. And lastly, on the business front, I want to welcome officially Pope Auto Works on 102nd and Greenfield. Had their grand opening this past Saturday, auto repair place. Other good business news, Cone Cranes announced that they were moving from Oak Creek to West Dallas and bringing their 100-plus employees with them, as well as Brookdale Senior Living announced that they were going to be adding 200-plus jobs to their facility in the Old Dallas Chalmers complex. So good things are happening. That concludes the mayor's report this evening. Do we have any alderpersons' reports?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Probst.
I don't have a report so much as I have a comment that I would like to make sure that most residents of West Dallas hear. One of those situations that we as a community have been forced to deal with is the hard times of the mortgage and the housing crisis. I want to make sure that all residents remember that our city services are being stretched to the max. We have at present 83 abandoned and vacant properties that the city has had to assume care for. These people have walked away from their mortgage, they've been foreclosed on, and the home remains vacant. I want to remind everyone that living in a community means we all have a responsibility to our community. If you happen to notice a home that it has grass that's long and overgrown, call it in. Call your alderman. There are 10 of us here that are more than willing to pass that information along to our Public Works Department so that we can keep our neighborhoods looking good. This is how we're going to bring in outside investment. We have to maintain our streets and our neighborhoods to the best of our abilities, and it takes us all. So I would hope that everyone could do their part and make sure that you just keep your eyes open in your neighborhood, and that's how we'll stay a little bit safer as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Probst. Alderman Barzak.
Mayor Devine, thank you. I want to first, I'd like to thank Officer Randy Kwasinski I had the opportunity this past Friday to ride with Randy in the squad car from about 7:30 till about 2 in the morning. While our ride with was going on, we did have 2 drug busts and 1 OWI, which included bookings, and so I got to see the whole gamut. A couple weeks ago, I got to ride with the rescue squad for about a half a day, and when you do these things, you really, really appreciate the officers, you really appreciate the firefighters, what they do, how they do it. It's just absolutely amazing how these individuals treat people. During the drug arrests, they treated them with respect. They talked to them. They were trying to explain that, you know, look, this is my job, and unfortunately you got caught. It's just extremely, extremely interesting and eyes wide open. And Officer Kwasinski was just an absolute pro. And again, I'd like to thank him and the police department. On Sunday was a la carte. And I have the opportunity to get the bartenders together and run the beer tent. The beer tent is sponsored by 88 Keys. And the nice thing about the beer tent is all the proceeds that come into the beer tent after the beer's paid for, after the band's paid for, the tent, et cetera, all the proceeds go back to the bid district, and part of those proceeds then go to the West Dallas parade. Also, all the bartenders, and I want to thank them personally because they work for free. They do not get paid. Myself, and then my son Eric Barzak, Colleen Barzak, Todd Barzak, Jeff Sickage, Al Mauerman, and Leslie Simmerzak. All of them work for free. All the tips that came in the little jugs that are out there go 100% to the West Dallas Parade. We take nothing out of it except a lot of fun. I had a call from Don Falk, and he told me that he called me and thanked me, and he told me that our tip jars this year totaled up to $475.86. He said that was about $100 higher than any year. I think it was spectacular weather, and I think when the rain came at the end, we really got a big rush in that beer tent, and it was the only place to go to keep dry. So I'd like to thank all the bartenders. I'd like to thank 88 Keys because, again, the proceeds go back to the bid. I'd also like to thank Diane, and I hope I get this right, I think it's Einiker and Don Falk and the volunteers that actually worked it and put on such a great event for the city of West Dallas. My understanding is Don Falk out there at 5:30 in the morning to help set up, and Diane Einiker was there already with 15 family and friends and volunteers ready to work the event. Kind of amazing to put on an event like that. Diane Einiker came up to me, and she wanted to personally, she said she's very, very nervous talking, so she wanted me to thank Public Works for all their hard work with the barricades, the street sweeping, the garbage collection, et cetera, and also the police department for making it a successful event. So on behalf of Diane Einiker, thank you, City Services. You guys did a great job, and they appreciate it. That is all. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Barzak. You usually don't say much, so we'll give you leeway and you can talk as long as you want when you do. So.
Thank you.
Any other alderpersons' reports this evening?
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Haas caught my eye, not my ear.
Thank you, Mayor Devine. And Mayor Devine, I'd like to give thanks to the fire department. I too had the opportunity to do a ride along, only mine was with the fire department 2 weeks ago at Station 3. Being on the Police and Fire Commission for a number of years, I've had the opportunity to do a number of ride-alongs. I always find it very interesting, and it's always reaffirming to see how caring and courteous and professional our firefighters are, and our police officers as well. So I'd like to thank the firefighters of Station 3 for that opportunity, and also thank Chief Bain for his outreach to get us alder people to ride along with the fire department and the police department as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Haas. Who's next? Alderman Weigel.
Mayor Devine, thank you. I know it seems like summer finally just got started, but we're about 60 days from State Fair. Just Didn't mean to shock anybody, sorry. And with that in mind, I know it's been mentioned in the past, but the deal has gotten much firmer in the last 10 days. The hotel development on 82nd and Greenfield is moving forward. The badge has been signed as far as the brand of the hotel that will be there. It's my understanding we're going to see stuff coming to Plan Commission shortly. So we're talking about 100-plus rooms, a banquet facility for about 300 people. I know it's been a long time in coming. Fortunately or unfortunately, the delays in the financing means that once again, you will have the opportunity to support local high school sports when you go to the fair by parking on that great big huge lot where Mykonos used to be. The Booster Club will be parking cars again there this year, so for those of you who don't have the good fortune of living in the second or third districts and within walking distance of the fair that you have to drive, when you come to the fair, drive right past the State Fair and come over to 82nd and Greenfield, and you can know that your money goes to support local high school sports. Thanks.
Thank you, Alderman Weigel. Alderman May?
Thank you. You could tell summer must be approaching because it looks like we've all been very busy already. A few things. I also did a fire department follow-along and spent a good 4 or 5 hours with the department. I'm not sure if, the day I did the follow-along, the ride-along, they were doing tests for the candidate physical ability test, and me being the young, cocky alderman, I decided I'm going to give it a shot. And I've learned 2 lessons from the CPAT. Number 1, our fire department, the men and women of our fire department are way more physically fit than I am. And number 2, don't eat lunch before you do the CPAT. I'll leave it at that.
I'm just going to leave it alone.
The following evening, I did a ride-along with the police department from about 9 to 4 in the morning, and we went out and did the enforcement of cruising on Highway 100. We got 7 offenses, citations written, all to non-West Allis residents, as it would turn out. 1 OWI, a DV, a DC. At one point in the night, I was running with the officers through yards, chasing someone down. It was a very interesting night. So I want to thank Officers Saeed, Foy, and Carlson for the ride-along. Next, yesterday, I got an invite from Alderman Bobby Pantuso in the Easttown Neighborhood Association to attend their neighborhood association meeting and learn a little bit more about what they're doing. And I learned a lot about organization of these things, and I just wanted to put a plug out there. I know this is something that the mayor was pushing very strongly, as well as the formation of neighborhood associations. There's a website called nextdoor.com. You go there, type in your address, your email, and it will automatically start setting up your neighborhood for you. It's already been set up by our IT department, so I wanted to put a plug in there for that. Next, Friends of La Follette Park, the 13th and the 14th. The 13th, they're having a movie night. It's going to be Despicable Me 2 is going to be showing at the park. And the following day, they're going to have a bike ride down the Hank Aaron Trail down to Palermo's, where they'll be having pizza. So check out the Friends of La Follette Park website for that. And finally, I got word today, and Mayor, I believe you got word as well, that the train whistles that have been blowing in the area of District 3 have been due to construction. And I believe the mayor's office, you got quite a few calls on that. I know I did, Alderman Barzak as well. And it sounds like there's going to be a bit of a reprieve till July, about another month of train whistles, and after that it should be calming down. Again, it's all related to the construction of the zoo interchange. That is my very long report. Thank you, Mayor.
It's nothing compared to Barzak.
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Vitale.
I mean, I want to close really with a little bit of humor. A few years ago, because everybody's been talking, so I like to put my two cents, Years ago, I mean, normally was procedure when Alderman Sangstock used to be here. He used to get a nice roll of great tape, used to come around, and always it used to end up on this end. So maybe I should buy another one and maybe try to pass it out again.
We are missing the duct tape, you're right. Any other alderperson's comments? I think we only have 3 aldermen that haven't spoken.
What kind of tape do I have to get?
Duct tape. Okay.
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Lysick.
I move for approval of the minutes of the Common Council regular meeting of May 20th, 2014.
Second.
There's a motion with a second by Alderman Reinke. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item J on your agenda is I'll ask for a motion to refer item 4 to the city attorney.
So moved?
Second.
Motion by Alderman Probst, second by Alderman Barzak. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Standing committee reports, License and Health Committee, Alderman Chaplesky.
I'd like to bring everyone's attention to item 5 on tonight's agenda. This is a application for extension of premises for Urban Joe's. It was voted to approve it as amended by 2 members, with 1 member voting no, and 2 people being excused. I'd like to move for adoption of this portion of the committee's report.
Second.
There's a motion with a second by Alderman May. Is there any discussion?
Mayor
Seeing-
Devine.
Oh, Alderman Reinke.
What was the amendment?
Just till 10 o'clock.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Barzak?
No.
Chaplesky?
Aye.
Hess?
Aye.
Lysick?
Aye.
Me?
Aye.
Probst?
Aye.
Reinke?
Aye.
Rote?
No.
Vitale?
Aye.
Weigel?
Aye.
8 in favor, 2 opposed.
Motion carries.
Then we have item number 6 on tonight's agenda. This is for a bartender's license. It was voted to deny by 2 members, 1 member voting no, and 2 members excused. I'd like to move for the adoption of this portion of the committee's report.
Second.
There's a motion and a second by Alderman Barzak. Is there any discussion?
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Probst?
could we hear about the rationale for the no vote?
Mayor Devine?
It is a motion to deny.
Yeah.
So the no vote is...
So
My
the no vote is
apologies,
a
I
yes.
misread it. My apologies.
So you want an explanation for the aye votes?
No, I'm good.
Mayor
Alderman
Devine?
Weigel?
Just for edification, this young lady, yes, has a past that we typically deny, but what stood out for me was that she was here with her father, and her father was the manager at the licensed establishment where she will be working. So it'd be working essentially, in, although it's not a family-owned business, she'd be working with her father. That was my reason for the no vote on the denial. But if you want to know, yes, she's got drug paraphernalia, a possession of marijuana that was dismissed, some truancy, some underage alcohol. Yeah, I was actually on the fence about the no. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Weigel. Any other
Mayor Devine?
discussion? Yeah.
The person we're talking about is here, and my understanding is that she was going to come and speak, but I don't know, did you understand citizen participation was when you were supposed to do it? I'm sorry, when was I? Well, you just had the citizen participation. If you were going to speak, you were supposed to speak during then, but not now, so it's,
No.
I don't know,
If you want to, you can
it's up to you.
have a few minutes.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, I understand my record is ridiculous, but it is in the past. I do go to school. I go to school back in fall. I was gonna work all summer so I can afford school. I just leased a new car that I've been paying off. And so with working with my dad, so I could work more hours with having this license, so I could succeed in school and pay for school and pay for my car and work towards something and not keep my past following me, I guess. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion?
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Haas?
just a clarification, this is a motion for denial, so an aye vote is a vote for denial. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, if there's no other discussion,
Mayor Devine?
Alderman May?
I watched the License and Health Committee meeting, and looking at this, I think there's a few reasons to deny. One is the record. It's very lengthy and it's very recent, all within a 2.5-year time frame, and then I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 things on there within that amount of time. The second reason would be that the individual can still work at her parent's bar, the parent just has to be present. And of course, the third reason being that when you give a bartender's license, it doesn't mean they're going to operate just there. They could operate at any other bar as well. I think the committee came out with the right recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Barzak.
Aye.
Chapletsky.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Lysick.
Aye.
Me.
Aye.
Probst.
Aye.
Reinke.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
No.
9 in favor, 1 opposed.
Motion carries.
Then we got items number 7 through 16 on tonight's agenda. These are various license, police reports, and communications. They're voted for approval. Approval subject to necessary requirements, with the exception of 11 and 12, which were voted to deny. It was voted by all 3 members, with 2 members excused. I'd like to move for the adoption of the remainder part of the report.
Second.
Motion and a second by Alderman Weigel. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We'll move on to item L.
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Lysick.
I move that we stand in recess until conclusion of the committee meetings.
Second.
There's a motion with a second by Alderman Reinke. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We are in recess.